Welcome back to the Time for Heroes podcast.
On the podcast today, I've got John Witherspoon, a singer-songwriter based in Liverpool, originally born in Manchester, I see, but now residing in Liverpool, or brought up in Liverpool, if you can tell with the accent. We're going to touch on John's career to date, and he's got a new album coming out in October, which I've had the pleasure of listening to, and it's fab. So we're going to touch on that as well, and then John's going to pick his heroes. But what I like to do at the start, John, is go right back to the start. What was life like for a young John growing up, and how did that shape you?
Well, first thing that comes to mind is I wasn't brought up in Liverpool either. Technically, I was brought up over the water in Wallasey.
Right.
So, the Wirral. I don't know why that feels important to say. It's like there'll be Scousers going, it's not even a Scouser. You know, it's one of those strange things around here that I feel the need to clarify. But no, and the reason I tell everyone about being born in Manchester as well is I'm really proud to be that hybrid, actually, of my mum's from Manchester, my dad's a Scouser. They're actually he's a big Liverpool fan. She went to Man United for years with my uncle, so that's a weird marriage. So the Wirral. I've said recently in an interview, there's a lot of great bands from the Wirral, so I'm proud of that as well. You know, I'm proud to just be this hybrid of the Northwest. But anyway, no. Good, to answer your question, growing up was great for me. I had a fabulous time, and life only got hard when I was a grown up.
What with the Manchester Liverpool sort of background, is there any Irish element to that as well?
Not that I know of, actually. No, in our family. Right. I haven't done the family tree stuff much, so I don't know. I know on my granddad's side, there's he had a Dutch mum,
right,
and that's as far back as I've gone. Where you go, there's but no. Despite there being loads of gingers, there's no Scottish or Irish that I know about.
Yeah, there must be. If you delve into it, there must be. I mean, every day. Especially with the musicians as well. If you look at all the musicians, like Manchester, Johnny Marr, the Gallaghers, all that, the Irish background there, John Power as well, just got his Irish passport last year.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
There must be somewhere with that. But yeah. It was just when I was listening to, is it Dublin in Your Mind?
Yeah.
And I kind of thought maybe there's that connection there, but so as a young lad, then obviously normal happy childhood. What was your ambitions as a youngster? Was it always music, or was there anything else in the horizon?
I think I was fairly typical, Martin, in being football obsessed and music obsessed, which is in the northwest of England is just the most young lads. But musically, I'd say I was just dead lucky to get lessons, to be encouraged by my mum and dad, and sort of nudged a little bit into things. So I was playing a bit of piano and a bit of guitar from the age of sort of 9. By the time I was 11 and 12, I think I was just, that young ego where you're like, well, that is my path. I already am awesome. It's just so I'd been, and I remember being into the Britpop stuff, even at that age, even 8, 9, 10. I had an older brother who was Oasis mad and Blur mad. And so from almost as far back as I can think, I had the ambitions and I had the feeling of, that's me, I belong with those guys, sort of thing. And it's mad because it's just completely delusional for so long. Even when I was 19, 20, I've told a few people, I don't think I wrote a good song till I was 31, actually. So it was a hell of a long journey, but yeah. And ambitions is a weird word because I still don't apply myself in terms of wanting to grow the audience and all that. I still don't do that the way I should. But I was always ambitious to be a songwriter and to work at the craft. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like touching on that, like as you're saying, like you've maybe not grown the way you've wanted to. I was going to touch on like the Liverpool scene, and obviously like looking through your Instagram today, like all your gigs. Obviously, you're doing lots of open mic nights, lots of functions, weddings, and things like that. Predominantly in the northwest area. Obviously, like, as I've done the podcast, I've managed a couple of bands as well, and obviously one of the things that they say is don't play your home city all the time. Whereas that's what you do. That's obviously your bread and butter. So,
Yeah.
do you think that's helped or hindered you? Because obviously you're on the cusp of releasing a third album, so there's obviously a backing there.
I think it's definitely hindered me just in terms of, life's for being adventurous, and I think I get a little bit lazy and a little bit in the comfort zone, and yeah, I just don't do mad stuff like jump in the car and go and play, set up my own little tour and follow that and see if I can do it. But obviously, there's constraints that make that hard, like trying to pay your rent and. But looking ahead, I still hope to be doing these kinds of things. Yeah, I'd love to start mixing it up and play all over the UK and beyond. Whether it's with a band or just jumping in the car with the acoustic, I'm happy either way. And yeah, hopefully this is a time for lots of looking ahead and being optimistic and. Yeah, if I'm honest, getting my finger out and trying to make things happen more than just the craft and the work, which I'm really happy with. Yeah,
I could definitely see you up in Glasgow playing some gigs up here. I think you'd go down a treat. Obviously, like think about London. It is like somewhere like that is so daunting, and I can understand it being like a scary prospect to get in there, but it is just about getting your name out there in it, and
yeah, and I love to love to go and play the originals, and yeah, Glasgow. I've only been like one time for like a weekend really, and I loved it, and I totally agree. It feels so much like Liverpool that
yeah, I mean the connection with the Scousers and the Glaswegians goes back. Hundreds of years, didn't it? So it's like we are kindred spirits, man. You'd be taking in as one of our own up here.
Yeah, I remember playing an open mic on that weekend I mentioned, and coming off and it was mid-afternoon really. It was a busy pub and it was boozy, but the amount of people that just came up and chatted was just beautiful. Like I thought maybe that is like Liverpool, but it seemed like even more so. That people wanted to just involve me straight away, and chat for hours. It was great. So, yeah, definitely hoping to get back up in your neck of the woods.
So, obviously, touching on the Liverpool scene, obviously, like you play a lot of times in the Cavern Club. Obviously, I know the boy Ian Price runs the Monday nights down there. So what's the kind of the community like within the musicians and that scene?
I think we probably have a strong one here, even if, you can take everything for granted when you're right in the middle of it. But the Monday Club is definitely like, kind of feels like the center of that like singer-songwriter, especially kind of Liverpool thing, grassroots. The Monday nights with Ian are fantastic because you have to do original material. Which has always kept it really interesting, whether it's poetry, music, or whatever else, stories. You can go from the sublime to the ridiculous, and you do every single week. So yeah, that's a great little community, and I'd encourage anybody to get involved, and I do. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it looks fantastic. I've been looking at all the videos, all the gigs and all that done there, and it just seems such a vibrant community.
Yeah.
I've never been to Liverpool. My mum was there. My mum and her boyfriend were there last month or so, and I said, "What did you do?" And she was just listing off all these places she went to eat, and I said, "But you were in Liverpool." I said, "Oh, it was really busy. We seen the street that the Cavern Club's on,
Mm.
but we never had time to get in." And I thought, "You're right there, and you can't actually walk down the street." But that's all they talked about was all the places they went to eat.
Sometimes you need a good tour guide.
Hmm.
When I came to Glasgow, I met a fellow called Graham, and I wish I could remember his surname because I get the feeling you might even know him because he was just a big like Paul Weller fan, big like again knew all his Liverpool bands, and I can't even remember how I knew him because of Steve Pilgrim,
Hmm.
Paul Weller's drummer.
Hmm.
I was going to Glasgow and I said to Steve, "Do you know anybody?" And he said, "Yeah, this fella Graham." And Graham like rang me the next day and was like, "Yeah, come on." And so we had this afternoon, me and my girlfriend and him and his kids, where he was like, "Oh, come on, I'm with the kids, but I'll show you around." So we were getting this sense that we weren't just taking a punt on places. He was really getting us into the heart of things quickly.
Hmm.
And here's where you want to go, and here's. So maybe your mum was missing out on that. You can't just Google stuff. I think you need someone you need a native.
Yeah.
I'm amazed you haven't been. I mean, I presume you're a fan of Ian's music, I would guess.
Yeah. So I mean, we were talking about it. Obviously, I mentioned that I was managing a band up until a couple of months ago. So I was talking to them about going down and playing one of the Monday nights down there. So I've been aware of Ian for a good couple of years, and obviously, just as a music fan, I'm into all the Liverpool bands.
Yeah,
There's, I mean, there's always been various different scenes for like the Eric's, the scene with them, with like the lightning seeds and all that, the farm or them, and then obviously later on you get the choral and all that sort of, the bandits or all that sort of scene. So there's always been that, and then again you've got all the kind of a lot of singer songwriters coming up now. Your
yeah.
Jamie Webster's and all that, and a few Scottish acts down there.
I was just going to say you'll have to give me some recommendations for what the kids are up to there now.
Yeah, I mean, so there's two Scottish lasses based in Liverpool, Brooke Combe and Rhiann Downey.
Oh
I
yeah, I
think,
know that
I
their
think
name.
they're all on the same record label as Jamie Webster and all that. I think James Skelly has a lot to do with it. I think he produces a lot of the stuff.
Yeah,
Ian Brody's got a lot to do with it as well. So there's always been that kind of community, and everybody seems to kind of dig in and help one another.
yeah, yeah.
So, starting it in the music, obviously, I've seen that, but before kind of you started releasing stuff under your own name. Yeah, 2017, you were going under the guise of Flynn's Peace.
Yeah.
So, was there anything before that?
I hung on to the name Flynn's Peace for a long time, so that was like the kid name, because it was just a park that I used to play footy in, and I just took that name. But no, considering you only had one night to do your research, I'm amazed you went back that far back. But
Well, I was listening last night, and then I got up this morning. I work night shift,
yeah,
so I was up at 11 o'clock, and I was through your Instagram.
yeah.
So I seen this Flynn's piece that just kind of jumped out at me this morning.
Do you know what? I'm like, I'm more and more so. I'm getting like, I think it's actually healthy, but when I look back at old stuff,
Hmm.
oh, it makes me cringe so bad. It's an awful feeling. It's an awful feeling that I talk to mates and I know that it's fresh in their memories, you know what I mean? And but obviously that's more acute for me, this sense that I was cringy and I was embarrassing for so long and the songs weren't good and the lyrics were this and that. But everyone's got to go through that. And I think it's probably better than sitting around going, I've been boss forever. I still want to play those songs.
Mm-hmm.
Every artist should end up looking back and seeing the stuff as being somehow naive, I think, back then. That said, like I say, got to turn 30, 31, and that was when I finally released an album.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, so I've got those 2 albums there, and luckily I can still enjoy playing those songs, performing those songs, and the sort of violent cringe hasn't kicked in yet. It might do in 10 years' time. Don't know.
So after Flynn's Peace, 2018, you started work on what would be your debut album with Alec Britts at the Cabin. Second album was with him as well. Is you working with him for the new one as well, or have you moved on?
Yeah, no, we didn't. I didn't work with Alec this time, but yeah, we did 2 albums together, and he's a great guy, fantastic musician, drummer, and everything. Songwriter in his own right. Great little studio, and he was great for me in so many ways in putting those 2 records together. Helped me meet a lot of people. Well, some of them I knew, but brought me closer with them.
Mm-hmm.
Collaborators. He actually ended up involving me in a covers band, and I didn't have a lot of experience in bands before that, and I've kind of kicked on from there with the function stuff, and again, just loving collaboration as well as being a lone wolf doing acoustic sets all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot of thanks to him, and a lot of credit goes to him. But no, this time completely different team and stuff, and yeah, with the greatest respect to everyone I've worked with before, I think this album is the best sounding one by a long way.
Mm-hmm. So obviously in 2019, your first 2 singles came out. Firstly in July, Mr. Lowdown, and then in September, My Dad. And obviously looking through your Instagram, both were played at Anfield. Obviously the second one, My Dad, was played at Anfield while you were at the football with your dad. So
Yeah.
being like a Liverpool fan as well, then what's that feeling like hearing your song played there?
Do you know what? It was great, and I love telling this story because it also involves, again, instant humbling, the reality of things rather than your expectation of things. So, yeah, it was amazing. It was surreal. And then I'm stood there with my dad, and he's chatting to the fella behind us about the game or about whatever else, And my dad knows the song's playing, and he's proud, and so he says to this fella, "This is him. This is my lad, right now."
Mm-hmm.
And the guy went, "Oh, is it?" Anyway, so I reckon in the second half he's got to bring on, And I was like, "Hang on a minute." I said, "What do you think's going to happen next? I think that fella's song's going to come on over there, But I was teasing him, but I love that part of it as well, where you're just like, yeah, so what? Move on, get over it. Don't dine out on things like that. But no, I mean, and that was down to George Sefton,
mm-hmm.
who I don't know if you know, but he's only just retired after a 50-year career as Liverpool's stadium announcer. He's the voice of Anfield.
Mm-hmm.
Is the nickname, and rightly so. It's going to be very strange for the matchgoers to not hear his voice before and at half time, and I hope there's a big tribute planned in some way because he deserves it. But he's also a big music fan, and I saw him just at a gig one time, and I just asked him, or someone had already told me, "Oh, you just got to ask George,
Mm-hmm.
just say, here's my song, will you play it?" And he says, "Of course I will." So again, another, and not just the footy and the Anfield stuff, but another like really good musical guy in the community who just wants to give the grassroots stuff a platform.
Well, this is the thing as well. Up and down the country, they're like all these big football teams are always got that connection with the music as well. And obviously the music scene the music scene in that city seems to be so vibrant when the team's doing so well.
Yeah.
So if you look at like Newcastle, for instance, you get Sam Fender and Andrew Cushion kind of coming up, just as Newcastle are kind of a rebirth in their football team.
Yeah.
So there's that
Nice, isn't
connection
it?
there.
A lot of people are going to look back at it as a great time, which is nice because there's not a lot of that kind of talk knocking around in the world.
Yeah.
But,
Celtic just released a away strip and they done like a promo video for it. And obviously, as I mentioned, Rhiann Downey and Brooke Comer in the video. Bobby Gillespie's in it for Primal Scream, obviously, big Celtic fan.
yeah.
See like that video is just one of the best because it's kind of, as I said, I'm a Celtic fan. So as a Celtic fan and to see some of my favourite artists in the video as well.
Yeah.
It's there's always that connection with music and football, man. It does so much. It's a working class element in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, long may it continue.
In your kind of bios and all that, you're kind of says you're like big into your Britpop. Obviously, you mentioned that you touched on Blur and Oasis and all that earlier on. So at the end of that year, you supported Echo Belly, big Britpop band of the time. So what was that like, kind of getting like a gig like that?
Do you know what? Great. I think I got that because it might have been Ian Prowse actually was unable to do the gig. I think Echo Belly, it's fair to say, were probably just a little bit before my time. They were early 90s in their pomp, maybe 92, 93. So I don't remember listening to them as a kid. And do you know what? Again, so fabulous to get the nod, but it was like a Monday night, and it wasn't a spectacular turnout. So often these things are like, I went in, I did my best, but it wasn't loads to write home about in the end. But of course, yeah, really, really grateful. Anytime you get the nod to go and open up, and I hope there's more of them to come.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then the following year, things started ramping up. Another 4 singles released, and then the album. So on you go, I Am Your Darling, and then obviously you'd had the nod to your dad, then you brought out one about your mum, followed by Outlaw, and then the album came out December 2020.
Yeah.
Listening to the album, what I got for the influences I got for it, I don't know if it's the Liverpool accent. Obviously, like I could hear Miles Kane in it. I could hear Jake Bugg in it. But as well as that, it sounded so much. You could have put any of the songs on George Harrison's album, All Things Must Pass.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't know
Okay.
again if that's the Liverpool accent or not, but I don't know if you agree with any of them that I've kind of mentioned.
I'll take it. It's interesting because I'm not a huge fan of Miles.
He's for the Wirral as well. No,
yeah, he is. Yeah. And Jake Bugg, similar, mate. Like he's all right. Like I listen, but it's not something I've obsessed over. I'm definitely a man of obsessions when it comes to music. It's like if I get on your team, there's no looking back. I just I'll just cane it. But yeah, I'm probably in that ballpark. I suppose, and I'll take the compliment. And obviously George, yeah. The Beatles for me are just feel like they're part of my DNA. So
yeah, I was thinking that, like, for where you are, for where you come from, it's probably just kind of naturally seeps into your kind of songwriting. Even if you don't try it must kind of just bleeds in there somewhere.
yeah, I mean, because it started with me with Oasis as a kid, and then you explore the Beatles. I explored the Beatles later, and
Hmm.
I'm kind of able to see that though Oasis are great, and I still love the early records. You see where it comes from. You see the derivative thing, and yeah. So there's probably no escaping the Beatles, but I'm also a big fan. I'm not. I always say you get the sense with, like, maybe my dad's generation, maybe a few older people, that there's a bit of a reluctance here to dwell on them and talk about them all the time because it's boring. It's just like, oh, okay,
Hmm.
yeah. My dad's generation was far more into, like, a post-punk thing and Costello and Paul Weller
Hmm.
and that's their bag. I mean, they won't. They just. I can't sit there and discuss the Beatles with him and his mates. We just don't do it. But I'm an enormous fan, and Sergeant Pepper's alone is, like, I just think, one up there in my top two or three, and so I see it both ways. I see that, like, they're in the DNA whether I like it or not, and I'm in South Liverpool. I'm right where they grew up, and so they kind of feel like uncles as well. But I'm such a fan as well. So they'll always be in the songwriting, I reckon.
Hmm. So after kind of releasing all that, getting into kind of end of 2020 into 2021, my dates, I don't know if I've tried to blank out kind of COVID and all that, but obviously that was on the horizon. How did that kind of affect maybe songwriting, and obviously it kind of stopped gigging and all that? So how did it affect you kind of both as an artist and as a person?
It definitely played a huge part in the artistry because uh, the first lockdown, summer 2020, was when I wrote the entire second album. So,
Hmm.
and that wasn't, and that just didn't happen without all that time, all of a sudden, that we all got. So I have to be honest. First lockdown for me, I'm such a lucky boy. It was like I had no work on, so I was able to go back to my mum's again in Wallasey, New Brighton. Um, my older brother came back as well. My older sister came back as well with her child. My younger brother was there, and his partner was there with us. My mum and her partner. We just hung out. We got too bevied for too long initially, like everyone did. We had the wheelie bins outside, just like a party every day, and you started getting ashamed of yourself about it. And then we all were like, okay, you're gonna have to find something else. You're gonna have to find something to focus on here instead. And I got fit, and I was jogging, and I started battering the songwriting and the playing, and so that was like a magical time, actually, which I don't want to be too insensitive about saying, but
No, I think if I look back on the majority of my guests on here, they've all kind of, the majority of them have said that COVID was helpful to their career because it gave them that time. If they were established artists, it gave them that time to kind of get away and reinvent themselves. And if they were emerging artists, it gave them the time to kind of stop and kind of hone their craft before they went at it.
yeah, back to basics, I guess, for a lot of people who maybe got too caught up in the promo and the business side of things, to
Hmm.
go, well, all I am now again is a kid with plenty of time to sit there on the bed with the guitar. And I think I said it at the time, like, I know some people who walked away after COVID because it gave them the time to go, I don't even want this. And that's fine too. If you maybe they realized they were in the wrong pursuit and never went back to music, and that's all right as well. But it was great for me that first lockdown, and then 2021, very different year for me. Back to work in hospitality in the cafe.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really weird, murky, dark time of the masks and the people arguing with each other and about restrictions, and that felt like a war zone. Like,
Yeah, there was so much stress and tension, wasn't there? It felt like it could kick off at any moment.
yeah, and it did. You get such a mix of people round here.
Mm-hmm.
That you had literally all opinions and all angles flying around, and so I had all these songs done, but then the following year was actually became a very difficult one for me, and not just because of COVID and restrictions, but I don't know, just a few personal things, and
Mm-hmm.
so, and I hung on to that album for so long without putting it out. That's just a stupid mistake. I don't intend to do that ever again, where you just
Yeah, because I'd seen it. I think he posted on Instagram it was due for release in the March or something, and then it came out like about a year and a half after that.
a year and a half after, yeah. And that's just it's like laziness on the one hand, but I have bad spells of low confidence,
Yeah.
and feeling of I'm alone with this thing. I've got no one helping me. And that's nobody's fault. That's just a lot of that is about, like, you've got to start asking for help. You've got to start not being a lone wolf and stuff. And
It's a big thing though, isn't it? But I mean, like it's odd because obviously, as we talked about, like the community and the scene, and you've got so many people around about you. But is it just that way where you maybe don't want to bother them, or you think they've got their stuff going on as well?
yeah, and just, I suppose I'm culpable, and it's on me. But just to be like, you maybe just fear of failure. Yeah, like this, I can't release this until it's gonna be big, until I've got like a big net to cast. And you're like, I've just completely stopped thinking like that now. I am where I am, and it's just important to be a doer and to share. So, like, I'm really pleased now to be like, I wrote and recorded this thing last year, and it's coming out this year. And if I can keep that rate up, then it's much healthier, and it's how things used to be. Certainly that quicker turnaround. But everything's just good learning. Yeah, this long journey of, like, I do feel like slowly there's a bit more of a team now going on. I feel so grateful that there's people that are as proud of this album as I am, who worked on it. Dave Ormsby especially, who produced it, and it's all good, onwards and upwards now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, as I was talking about, like, listening to the music last night. So obviously, like, I touched on the first album and what I got for it, like the sounds I got for it. What I wrote down about the second album is instantly I felt a connection, and it sounds like John Witherspoon. Doesn't sound like anybody else. It sounds like you as an artist. That album sounds like you're comfortable in what you're doing. That's what I got straight away, which is funny because then I was reading a bit about you. I was reading like a bit for the EPK this morning, and obviously it was talking about like your new stuff is about the kind of disconnection with stuff, and I was like, well, for that second album and then the third album that I've listened to as well, what I got was an instant connection.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So I found that funny.
Yeah. I'll take it. No, I appreciate the kind words.
It just the second album just definitely sounds like you're then more comfortable in who you are, and
finding the
it
voice of
doesn't
it.
sound like anybody else.
Yeah, and I'm really proud of that. Thanks again. Like that's the journey you want to be on, isn't it? Growing more comfortable. I think we all start out imitating, and I say I've got years behind me of figuring out how to do it and heavy imitation. And if you just keep at it long enough, you are just, I think, gonna emerge with your own voice. Hopefully, some people might hear stuff and go, "Oh, he's ripping off that," but I'm quite confident that maybe there's a certain sound there now, and I still love that second album as well. You can judge things by how often you play them live, and luckily for me, I still love throwing loads of them in when I'm playing anywhere. So, but yeah, I'm pleased with the journey, and I think this new one's really strong as well.
Mm. And obviously, just before that album, obviously you mentioned about being up in Glasgow. Steve Pilgrim put you onto the guys, so you done some gigs supporting Steve Pilgrim.
Yeah.
How was that? Obviously, you've mentioned Weller a couple of times, so I'd imagine you're a fan. So how was that then?
Well, yeah, superb. Steve's an absolutely great guy, and he's given me 4 or 5 great platforms to go and open up for him. Sometimes in St. Michael's Church in Egbert, which is a wonderful venue, and a real honour to get your name on that. And Steve's great. Steve. I didn't ask Steve about Paul Weller once for the record because I just imagine he doesn't want to be too attached to that. But obviously, yeah, he's been Paul's drummer for 10 years or so, I think now, and yeah, going all over the world. And Paul's, I think, played on his records and turned up to his album launch, just shuffled onto the stage quietly and played some guitar for him, and yeah, I can only talk about Steve and again, what another great figure in this community he is, and who's became a good pal. And Weller, like my dad was a huge fan, so I heard a lot of that stuff growing up, and I think sometimes I like those songs more now than I used to. So like playing Broken Stones the other day at a gig is such a simple song, but just full of soulfulness, and yeah, I love like his kind of 90s comeback is loud lecky guitar, changing man, peacock suit, and Out of the Sinking. So the one that used to be on Sky Sports. It was it's just great. I don't know, masculine, kind of music. I love it. Yeah,
it's funny when you look at him and you think of all the different connections. Like, because obviously, when I was maybe 16, 17, I got into him through the Jam, obviously, and I was talking to my big sister. So my big sister was like 10 years older than me. So when I was young, she was into the Style Council. So that was her thing. Which then I started listening to the Style Council, and I thought I prefer that to the Jam. But obviously, like the solo stuff, obviously, like it was dead in the water, and then like the Britpop scene came and Oasis bigged them up and all that, and you look at them now and you look at that. That's like the 90s. So we're talking, obviously, you've got all the big shows. You had the Oasis show there. We're talking 30 years on. He's had 30-year solo career, which you could probably cut that into different chunks as well. Because obviously, like the new stuff's a bit different from it was at the start.
Yeah, he's done it right, hasn't he? I mean, anyone who's prolific, you can't knock it. I admire any of these guys who just really have got the output to back it up. Sometimes I think of Damon Albarn similarly. I don't like half of the stuff that he does, but I don't half respect his commitment to it, his addiction to the thing, to just be like, no, that's what I do all the time,
Yeah.
whether it's Gorillaz or Blur or 5 other side projects that he's involved in.
And everything's so different, and it's kind of there doesn't seem to be anything that kind of worries them about doing it. It's just right, I'm going to do that, and if people like it, they like it, and if they don't, they don't. But they're obviously doing it they need to do it for themselves.
Yeah, it's like you see that in him, like that childlike energy when I've seen him get interviewed about and talk. He's just talking about this session and this exciting session he was in, and this fella turned up and we did this, and it's like nothing's changed, which is what you've got to hope for in if you to have the success that he's had and all the trappings that it brings, and obviously Weller is the same. Yeah, he knows what he's here to do,
Mm-hmm.
and he's still doing it. And so I really aspire to those people. Yeah, I think my sort of rate of writing is not very prolific actually. I sort of write in like 6-month bursts, and then even when I say I'm not going to stop, it seems to get taken away from me, and I just have to live life again and do
Mm-hmm.
and pay bills and do the gigs always obviously, but I'm pretty confident that I will always do it. I'll always, I always want to and look ahead and say there'll be a next album and there'll be an album after that, and
Yeah.
just
Well,
go on until I can't go on anymore.
yeah, that sounds amazing. So, well, I'm already thinking about the next album after this then. So, obviously, that album came out in the June of 2023, and then 2024, no releases, but obviously lots of gigs still and recording. So obviously you were talking about writing in 6 month bursts or whatever. So
Yeah,
that year spent kind of getting this album ready, and then 2025, from May, you've released 3 singles. Natural Light, End of the Line again, and You're All Right. You're All Right actually did it kind of it had a Liverpool sound about it. The Dead 60s, Mark McManaman.
all
You
right,
have.
okay.
That's when I heard it initially, I thought that's got that kind of wee kind of melody, like a bit like his solo stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you've heard any of
No,
his.
I know the name. To my shame, I'll have to go and have a listen. Um,
He's probably in the same kind of boat as you. Obviously, he was in that band round about that time, like the noughties or whatever. But then he kind of walk away from that, and I think he's maybe brought out 2 solo albums.
yeah,
That base in similar vein to yourself. I had him on the podcast, I guess, maybe last year.
yeah. I know a lad called Paul Naz. I feel like he might have been involved a bit in that. I
Right.
could be wrong, but uh, yeah. But I haven't actually listened to the stuff. But yeah, you had him on. You said last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like touching on the album. So obviously, like listening to the album last night, it's kind of I'd put it in 2 halves. So the first kind of half of the album has got it's front loaded with the singles that you've released to date.
Hmm.
And then I was just listening to it right through, and then Delaney in her prime came on and instantly got me. And then that second half of the album, see for that onwards. No, that the first half, but the first half had the singles on it. But the second half was just, I was engrossed
Oh, I'm so
in
glad.
all of that. Obviously, you can, there seems to be more production in it, more, I don't know, more instrumentation involved. So, what was it like, kind of making this album?
Yeah.
And
Do
where
you
do
know
you
what?
feel it's going to go with this?
I think it was in a way it was less calculated than I've ever been in terms of instrumentation and production. I've just been answering some questions before this for an interview, um, And I was saying, yeah, it just felt like the right people, the right gear, and the right decisions got made all at the right time. But it was very just. I always come in with the demo, so I've got GarageBand demos. So I was like, I've pretty much got the skeleton of a little song here from start to finish. But after that, it was just right. Let's plug in and let's. I relinquished a lot of control this time and just said, let them play. Just these players, they're all great musicians, and most of them are in their 30s, and it's like we've all been on this journey. I think of like no one's interested in showing off anymore. No one's going to overplay in this tight group that I worked in, and so we pretty much just let people express themselves and kept it all quite, let's hear your idea. And we didn't interfere too much with what anybody wanted to play. And really great for that. And 3 tracks are like basically completely live. So,
right.
and they're the best for me. So like All My Venom and My Baby at the end, live. Sebastian obviously is the acoustic one that's one take.
Yeah, that's cracking. Dialed in's cracking. It's just, it was phenomenal. Like obviously Delaney in her prime was what kind of pricked me up right away. Who's that? Is that in to do with Sheila Delaney? That's who I got for that.
Somebody else asked me that. Is that the Morrissey reference? Because he's got one, hasn't he? Sheila Take a Bow.
Mm-hmm.
Is that who she is?
I think so. So Sheila, but then Sheila Take a Bow is spelled a different way. The Sheila and that, but obviously Sheila Delaney, Morrissey talks about her a lot. She wrote she done A Tasty Honey, which is, I don't know if it was the Beatles, if that's where the Beatles get that fair. I don't know, but it just somebody picked Sheila Delaney as a hero. Way back on the podcast as well, which kind of, so when I heard that, I thought it sounds like a Liverpool name as well, but I don't think she was for Liverpool.
Right.
I was googling last night famous Delaney's for Liverpool, and it never came up. And then I had to type her in. I can't remember where she's from, but I think it might be Ireland or something. But I wonder if it was that.
No, but I love it that you went there, and that's a good thing about songs, is that a lot of people are going to take it a lot of different ways and places in their mind. For me, it's just Delaney was the surname of a girl who I smooched, as the song says, and just going back a long, long time, teenage years, and it's for me, it's something to do with you don't get to experience that again. It's I don't know, the magic of youth. And I'm so glad you like it, and because of the 90s things we've talked about, somewhere in my head about that song was like, that's what I want to go for, is like, maybe hopefully it's going to sound like the music I initially grew up on. And there's a reference to a Radiohead lyric from the Bends in there about the 90s, and yeah, I don't know what else to tell you. It's a true story, as most of them are, and yeah, I'm glad you like it.
So, like, touching back on all that, because obviously, like, a lot of these songs are autobiographical. Is that, I don't know if that's the right word. Autobiographical. I don't know if I was saying that. Autobiographical. Aye, that's it. So, like, see, when you're writing these songs, is it therapeutic then as well?
Is it what, sorry?
Is it therapeutic for you? When you...
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's just, I try not to have too much control or say in things when they're coming through. So there is just a lot of like, just write, just right, and then finish a song, and if I feel like there's some momentum there, it's just go again, go again, go again, and maybe I like analyze later, you know. But yeah, obviously there's got to be some therapeutic element for me to express. But a lot of it's just like, this sounds like a song. This sounds cool. This is worth developing. So I'll stay with this one a little longer until it's finished. And but like, I don't know, a line like Delaney in her prime is probably something that's just always been on the back burner for me. Where you're like,
yeah.
I'll do something with that one day. You know,
Well, I'm glad. Well, I'm glad you did now because as I say, it's fantastic, and it did just kind of, as I say, the album's like the first half's got the singles on it, and then for that to just that kind of pricked my ears right away, and then I was hooked in for the rest of the album.
Oh, made up you said that, mate, because to me, in my head, if I was being ultra critical, sometimes I'm like, okay, well, that's where it might drop off. You know, but so yeah, thank you, because that makes me feel much better.
Wait, you should be mega pleased with it. So that comes out October. What is it? What's the date?
31st.
31st, Halloween.
Yeah.
Is there any singles to come out before that, or is?
Yeah, we've got "You're My Baby" next, which is the last song on the album.
Right. So when's that coming out? September.
Yeah, I can't remember the date, I'm afraid, but it is next month. Yeah, buzzing with that one. I really am. Again, it's just the fact that it's just a live band in a room.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hopefully is gonna hit people in the right way.
And then after the album, what's happening then? What's your plans after that?
Sweet FA at the moment. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is what I was saying before. Is like I'm still in that same boat of it's on me. I don't have a label or management, so I've got to make these moves. I should probably think about setting up an album launch and setting up a run of shows. But to be entirely honest with you, none of that is in place yet. Mm-hmm. So lots of work to do.
So, but I mean, you obviously feel something for this. Obviously, you got the PR behind you on this one, so there's obviously something there that you think, right, well, I'm willing to push this.
Yes, I'm glad I did that, because that's just the fear of doing what I did last time. If I just sit with this on my own, I might sit on it for 2 more years. Mm-hmm. And I thought, not doing that anymore. Working with this company that you just mentioned, straight away at the very least is like, let's have a timetable. Here's when these songs are coming out, and here's when the album's coming out. And even that's been a big game changer for me, of just like, thank you, yes, give me some structure and I'll stick to it. But yeah, no, you're right, I do. There is like a burning thing in me that's like, it would be a shame. It'd be a shame to not put some effort in now to try and make it reach people. And I think I can complain about, but I just want to be the writer and I just want to perform, and I do, but it's not the way the world is, and it's on me. It's on me to shout about it a bit as well, and try and do it some justice. You know, try and do all that effort and all that effort of other people some the justice that it deserves. Yeah.
Mm. As I said before we started recording, it's criminal that you're not on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
I mean, you deserve to be heard. It's been an absolute pleasure listening to the music, and as I say, like if you weren't involved with the PR, I probably wouldn't have heard you. It probably wouldn't have come up on any kind of Spotify, like the I forgot the word for it.
Algorithms and all
algorithm, that. It wouldn't come up on my algorithm. I would probably never have heard of you. And if I didn't get down to the Cavern Club with my mum. You know what I mean? I would never
Yeah.
have seen you live or anything like that. So I going down the PR route might be the best way for you.
Yeah. And do you know what, mate? Not to get too real about things, but like it all costs a lot of money. So
Hmm.
I think I've entered a kind of maybe more just slightly more reckless phase in my life with it, where I'm just like, okay, like yeah, it's only money, and I'll be all right because I'll just keep working. And if I really really get desperate and need help, I'm a very lucky person who's probably got that help there through family. So
Yeah.
so it's you've got to face up to those facts as well. Unfortunately, is like everybody's got to get paid, and rightly so.
Yeah. Well, I've got everything crossed for you for this. This is going to be the big album. It's going to be your breakout album. And if Oasis play again any big shows next year, um, they might get you on as opening act.
Well, I'd take, I'd take that. I'd say yes to that. Yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. As I say, looking forward to the album coming out October the 31st. It's called One of Them. Um, and it's out October the 31st. Last part of the podcast, it's called Time for Heroes. I asked my guests to pick 4 heroes to come for dinner, why they're your heroes, and what would you cook for them, just to see how good a cook you are. Um,
I feel under all sorts of pressure in one question. Yeah. So the 4 heroes, and it's living or dead.
Dead or alive, any aspect of life you want.
Okay. It's got to be Dylan. It's got to be Paul Simon, probably, if we're just going to sit around and have this musical discussion, which
For the listeners as well, just behind you, there's a Bob Dylan picture.
yeah. Yeah, there's nothing else on my walls. I'm a weirdo. It's a very minimalist flat apart from those 2 Bob Dylan pictures. Um, so that's 2. And then, as I said, I'm very, very predictable lad. It's music and footy, so we're probably saying, do you know what? I'm a big snooker fan,
Oh,
and and if you're to be a snooker fan is to be an O'Sullivan fan,
brilliant.
and I spend a lot of time watching snooker on YouTube.
On YouTube?
I do, yeah. I love the game. It's like my little thing. It's so I've got almost no snooker mates that I can talk to, but I adore watching them, and especially Ronnie. And Ronnie is a very very interesting character.
Hmm.
You know, he might be an awful guest at the table. I don't
I
know.
think I think Ronnie O'Sullivan would be fascinating one.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I've followed him through all his career.
yeah.
Obviously, where I come from as well. John Higgins. Obviously, I'm from Wishaw, same
Love
place
that.
as John Higgins. So there's always been that conflict between who I like best out of the two. But
Yeah.
I love them both. Like I watch when the snooker's on, I just watch their 2 matches all the way through the tournament.
I love Higgins as well. I hope he gets wins another world because I think he lost 3 finals on the spin,
Hmm.
17, 18, 19. So what a player, yeah. And Ronnie's different, isn't he? So like I love the granite, like the lads who aren't Ronnie because no one is, but it's like the will to win, the bottle, and yeah, it's like a Higgins or Selby is just a different kind of amazing thing to watch.
It's
But
funny watching like the
Sullivan's,
guys see like Selby and Trump and that. I kind of connect with the
I
people.
know what you mean. Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean in terms of there's something about Ronnie. He's got charisma and he's got grace and he's probably just got an aura whatever that thing may be about people where you just can't take your eyes off them. And but
I always think as well, John Higgins has got it the toughest at them all because see when the the World Championships is on in April, there's usually one of his matches, depending how far he gets. If he plays it a weekend, if it's in the final or whatever, it usually falls on like the last Celtic Rangers match of the season, and I think how can he focus on that? But a lot of the time, I think is he trying to get knocked out so he can get up the road for the game?
oh, is he a massive fan then? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So
yeah.
his brother, I know his brother. His brother is on a Celtic podcast that I listen to all the time.
All right, yeah.
His brother Jason was actually, for what I'm led to believe, a better snooker player than John was.
Wow. I heard a similar story about Ian Rush the other day. Someone said to me, Rush had a brother who was even better than him, but he didn't. At an amateur level, scored more goals, but didn't
Yeah,
quite.
there's so many stories of that. The brothers don't apply themselves as well.
I know those poor guys. Yeah, I'd write an album for them. I feel like, they need more love. But do you know what? I don't know. I don't have a fourth one for you. And I reckon I'm going to think of a belter later on. But staying with footy now. Staying with the Reds. What would you say? I'll say Bill Shankly to mention another Scot for you.
Brilliant. I thought you were going to go Kenny Dalglish, but Bill Shankly's one of the best quotes I've ever heard of is in Celtic won the European Cup. And he says to Jock Stein, he says, "John, you're immortal now." It's one of the greatest quotes ever.
Yeah.
But Bill Shankly was full of the quotes, you know what I mean? He was a good socialist guy.
Yeah, and there's stuff like, I think what stirs me the most is that the speech at St George's Hall in Liverpool in the 70s, they are privileged to play for you. And if they didn't believe me, they believe me now. And it's this enormous mob of fans to greet the team. And if I'm right in thinking, they didn't win the cup. That's the amazing thing about that story. This wasn't a victory parade. It was just the homecoming. I think I'll have to double check that. Someone said to me that was the love that he inspired in the Liverpool supporting public at the time.
It
wasn't even about being a winner. It was just like, he started something,
He had so much love for the team as well in the city. And when he left, did he know he was turning up to the training ground every day, and to ask him to stop turning up?
Yeah, there's a bit of that. You should read the book Red or Dead, by David Peace. That's a great Bill Shankly book. Because he knocked it on the head quite suddenly, didn't he? He was there for a long time, but his departure was sudden in 1974. I think he struggled. I think he struggled to come to terms with his retirement. That's definitely true.
Yeah.
He'd have to be good value at the table, wouldn't he? It'd be great.
Oh, it'd be brilliant. All four of them are fantastic, man.
Yeah.
I mean, to pick the brains of the four people.
Yeah. And it's funny, innit? You wonder, I'm not sure Paul Simon had, how much he's into his footy and snooker, but, maybe he'd get something from it.
No, that would be, they're cracking guests. I don't think MD's ever picked Ronnie Sullivan, and maybe about 150 episodes in, it's the first time he's been picked.
Oh, okay.
Some people ask me, who would you pick? And see when they ask me, I'm like, I've done like 150 of these, and I don't have a clue who I would pick myself.
Yeah, it's one of those awful. Yeah, you could think of so many good ones and get.
It's an awful question, and that's why I ask it to people rather than answer it.
It's like Desert Island Discs, isn't it? Have you ever actually sat there and tried to pick 8 songs?
Yeah, it's murder. It would take you like a week, wouldn't it? It's just constant deliberation.
Yeah. But
So,
hey,
to the last part of that, obviously, what would you cook for them?
oh, hey, Jesus. I don't know. Sausage and mash.
Yeah, there's nothing up with that, though. There's nothing up with that. A good
Yeah,
old-fashioned,
yeah.
aye,
I
I'd
know.
be
I mean,
happy with.
I always cook the same stuff. I'm almost autistic with it, so I tend to have like a bit of chicken, a bit of salmon, uh, a bit of chicken or a bit of salmon with, uh, you know, bit of veg, bit of rice or spuds.
Hmm.
So I tend to keep it pretty healthy and pretty boring, really. Uh, but I
My
don't know.
wife goes
I
mental.
don't know why I went to sausage and mash, but yeah, yeah, yeah. They could have that.
My wife isn't happy with me when I go shopping. She's like, you just buy the same stuff every week, and I'm like,
Yeah.
just because you get into a routine and it's easy.
If
But
it's vaguely healthy enough to keep you alive, then yeah,
yeah,
you should stick with it.
but she says to me that I eat to live, whereas she eats to enjoy herself. Like I don't, I would just eat the same dinner every day.
Yeah, I'm not a foodie. Yeah,
Yeah, I'd
yeah.
be quite happy to just eat. So sometimes it gets in the way, doesn't it? Eating.
It does. Spoils a good drink
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, John, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you today. I hope everything goes well with the album coming out. As we said, October the 31st, all the links and all that will be in the show notes for people to check out all your stuff. But for what's coming up in the next couple of months, I hope everything goes your way. And we'll see you, as I say, supporting Oasis at Nebworth next year, maybe.
Hope so, mate. Thank you so much. I've had a great time as well. Thanks, Martin. Nice to meet you.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
All right, bud.
I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Time for Heroes podcast. If you would like to get in touch, the best way is on the Facebook page, Time for Heroes podcast, or on Instagram at Time for Heroes podcast, or Twitter at Time for Heroes P1, or drop me an email at timeforheroespod at gmail.com. You'll find Time for Heroes on all podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple, Google and Amazon. Please leave a review where you can, share with others, and more importantly, enjoy.